There is going to be an upset. Upset in the making. I couldn't believe what I saw. I thought it was going to go one way. I believe that I was wrong. Coach Greg and I just finished watching the Mr. Olympia Classic Physique pre-judging at the venue itself, front row seats. And so what a crazy turn of events. And so let's start by talking about guys who were expected to do very well, but who didn't make it into the top 10. And so first, Logan Franklin. Now, Logan Franklin was peeled. He looked amazing. He looked fantastic. But I think he was perhaps 1 or 2% off from his all-time best, and that is enough at a competition at this high of a level for him to move out of the top 10. He has a great physique, but he doesn't have what I'd call the classic symmetry, the tiny, tiny waist, wide shoulders, and the sweeping thighs. Look for Logan to fall somewhere in the top 15, but not in the top 10. Now, Breon Ainsley, a former Mr. Olympia champion, used to battle it out with Sebum, but unfortunately, Father Time is catching up. He's not in the top 10. It's not that he's off, it's just that he's getting old. He's kind of like Coach Greg. And so, Breon, it's time to retire or at least compete in the Masters division. And so, starting with 9th place, it's the Mustache Man. His name is Matthias Menegatti. This guy looked incredible. He had crazy looking quads. He had the small waist. He was peeled. He was shredded. And so look for him to slot into the top 9, beating out many of his other opponents. And in 8th place, Justin Batterina. This is the guy with the ponytail. Did you like that guy?
He reminded me of Samuel Paquin.
Yeah, at first I was like, is that Samuel Paquin from Montreal? But this guy is way better than this guy. And I think because he had a lot more height, he had an advantage. But once I started looking at this guy, I was like, his physique is much more impressive than I expected. Sometimes when you're judging and you only know certain guys, your eyes are drawn to certain characters, and then you start seeing other people and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, that guy's actually better than him. Very hard for the judges. Sometimes there's 8 competitors on the stage at the same time, and you're looking at like 4 or 5 of them, you're trying to compare, and before you realize it, you're thinking, how did that guy move over there? But you hadn't even noticed them. And so this competition was very, very difficult to judge.
Stacked.
Yeah, it absolutely was stacked. You can't judge from just the individual routines. Some guys look amazing on their own, but once they stand next to another opponent, you're thinking, well, he's so small, he didn't actually have as much size, and so very, very difficult to judge. Next, Michael DeBull. He didn't make weight or height, whatever you want to call it, had to lose 6 or 7 pounds in 2 hours, managed to make it somehow. Who knows how he did it? And this guy is known for coming in peeled. Now remember, judging is done by 3 main components. How much muscle you have, how lacking of body fat that you have, and how bricked up you are upon watching these competitors. And so I know people don't want to think that bodybuilding, bikini, and so on is overtly sexual, but there is a sexual component to watching and judging a show. Think of it. You're standing there half naked, 95% naked, with proper tan, oiled up, and you're flexing and smiling and rubbing your body and saying, look at this. And so guys, there is a little bit of subjectivity to it. For example, you were attracted to Ramon Dino. Oh. He had the proper tan. I do believe he had the best tan. And so how can you not vote for him? And so she's getting bricked up watching Ramon Dino thinking, oh, look at this tan. Now, in the off season, without the proper tan, she's like, that's what Ramon Dino actually looks like.
It's true.
A little bit discouraged.
Yeah, Ramon with the tan, it's just like...
And so, as long as Ramon is sub 4% body fat, and with a tan...
With a wink, because he winked at the audience.
Yeah, the wink is important. He's giving you some of that audience approval. So I'm there for you.
The charisma, there's something about him. But.
And so, imagine how difficult it is for guys to meet the standards of your favorite throat goat. If you're not under 4% body fat on stage with a tan, it's very difficult.
He was peaked today, though.
Peak Ramon Dino, definitely. We're going to talk about him.
Yeah.
He's in the first call out. You already know he's in the top 3. We'll get to that in a minute. Next, Diego Gallindo. No idea who this guy was. Did you have a clue who he was?
No.
Never heard of him. Now, I follow bodybuilding a lot, but you can't follow everyone, and I don't know their names. All I know is every time I looked at him, he looked better.
Yeah.
from the start, I was like, he's probably like 9th place. He didn't even make the second call out. And then later they're like, wait a minute, this guy was overlooked. And so if you think that the judges are somehow biased or they're not giving each person a fair shake, he wasn't in the first and second call out, but they brought him back upon seeing him thinking, wait a minute, he might be better than some of those guys. And so they kept moving him closer and closer to the center.
It was cool.
I think he's 6th place. He looked so classic. The more he posed, the better he looked. And I think the reason that he was overlooked in the initial part is because he didn't have quite as much size. Like some of these guys are so freaking tall. 6 foot tall plus, they have a huge advantage. When you're a shorter guy, to do really well, it means you have a truly remarkable physique. Taller guys, sometimes they just take up more space. You notice them more. And so they get a first look much more easily. Now, here's the battle. Now, this is one of my, if not my favorite classic physique competitor of everyone. Niles Darwin.
Something like that.
The one punch man. I first saw him win in Toronto a couple of years ago. I said, this guy is insane. He has the smallest waist, the most freakiest proportions I've ever seen. It almost makes no sense. Like, I can't explain how small the waist could look and to have that much muscle everywhere. And so this guy is getting people bricked up.
But he was lacking in the legs, though.
The conditioning, maybe. He's not quite as peeled like when he does this.
He just has very good structure. But
the structure is the best, I think, of anyone. I think he has the best overall shape, even better than like Ramon Dino. Yeah. Just not as much mass. Like, I think he still needs to get a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. But the waist and like the back double, it's like your waist is this big. So even if you have a medium-sized back, it looks crazy. Yeah. He has that X frame, almost like an hourglass, kind of like
illusion of.
Yeah, that crazy Dorito shape.
Dorito.
And so great to see he's in the top 5. And so what happened is he made the first call out, and then they put him in the next call out. And so basically it was between him and Jose. Now, Jose is peeled. People are arguing debatably that he's the leanest classic physique competitor in the entire world. I like Jose's physique, but I don't like his back. It ruins it for me.
You would have to like show me.
He's the guy with the back that goes straight up and down like this. It doesn't have this shape.
Yeah.
Niall next to him, Niall goes like this. Niall. Jose, like this. Jose, however, is more like this. He's big, he's massive, he's shredded, he's peeled everywhere. The hamstrings, the glutes, the front, the quads, everything is insane. But one thing I don't like is that he does his side abdominal like kind of like this.
Yeah. Yeah,
when they do that, this is why they're doing it. They don't have a small waist.
And they don't have good abs.
They don't have the abs. They do this. Kind of like when C-Bum, who didn't have great abs, he would do the suck-in pose. Suck in the abs. Do the vacuum. If you have great abs, I want to see the abs. Now, Niles had amazing abdominals and the stupidestly small waist ever. And so stand straight, boom. Jose, on the other hand, I'm going to give the illusion that I have a small waist and a twist side and go like this. Yeah, it's a crazy conditioning, but to me, it's not as aesthetic. And so personally, I think classic physique should judge more based on shape, more so than just size. Pure muscle mass, in my own humble opinion, which isn't humble, I think people should listen to me more.
Yeah.
You like listening to me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so why not?
And why be humble?
Why? Yeah, like just listen to Coach Greg. I think I can make the sport a little bit better. I've had a lot of ideas. In the end, they end up listening to me. And so why not? Now, Jose looks amazing, but Niles looks more amazing. Niles is penalized because perhaps he's not quite as muscular as in his massive. And so I think he's going to get 5th, and I think Jose is going to get 4th. Now, it's close, depending on what your idea of the classic physique is. But my idea of classic physique isn't just the biggest bodybuilder, the guy that would win bodybuilding. If it was bodybuilding, well, I understand. It's all about the size. Open men's bodybuilding, the 212 and so on. But classic, shouldn't it be separated from the other divisions? Like, when a woman steps on stage in bikini versus wellness, it shouldn't be the same person that could win both. In bodybuilding classic, the same person could win. We watched C-Bum win classic physique, and we watched him move into open and get 2nd place. It's like, shouldn't there be a different standard, a different look that they're going for? And so I wish that we could just judge classic physique as being classic, which brings us into the top 3. We have Terrence Ruffin, who's shorter, who I didn't like his tan. I know he's black, but I didn't like the tan. It almost was like it didn't look as lean as he was. Some poses look good, like from the rear, back double bicep, the hamstrings, the glutes, it looked lean. But I was talking to people who were watching the live stream, they're like, it's this body, it didn't pop so much. In comparison, Ramon and Mike Somerfeld, they seem to just pop more. Now, the award for best tan goes to Ramon Dino. Now, many think I'm just making a joke and referencing Mike Israetel, but the tan can make a difference. It can make a difference between, for example, first and second or second and third. Not from sixth place to pro, but certainly for one spot. And so Ramon Dino just looked better. The skin was better. And that is, in fact, a factor. You can't just say, oh, it doesn't matter if you have tattoos, if your skin is not really looking soft and so on. It does make a difference if your body is glistening. And so immediately, in my eyes, these were the top three right away. It was very easy. And the judges most certainly agreed as they removed these three from the first column. So they took them out. They were so good, so much better than everywhere else. It was such an obvious difference. No point in judging them. And so, for example, Jose and Niall, they're not even close to third place. It's a big jump. And so these three were brought again on their own at the end of this competition. And so who is it going to be? And so all of these athletes are thinking, I want to be in the center, because how it works is if there's three people, whoever's in the middle, they're going to get first, and then it's going to be second and third, depending on where you want to put them. And so what the judges at this level are doing is they want to give everyone a chance to be the champion. If they didn't put Terrence in first ever, Terrence isn't winning. They started Terrence in first. I thought, my opinion is they often will put the best of the best in the center last. And so after they're posing, they're saying, I just want to be in the middle. And so Terrence starts it off in the middle. I'm thinking Terrence is third. Right away, my opinion, and it's not humble, it's my expert opinion. I used to be a judge, of which I'm not a judge anymore, but I do believe I should be. Terrence was the third best competitor. His conditioning, it just didn't pop as much as the other two. And Terrence is the shortest. I think he's around 5'5" tops. And so he just takes up less space. He has great symmetry, a small waist, wide shoulders. The muscles look amazing. He poses exceedingly well, perhaps the best poser in the division. But he just didn't pop out as much as me. And so within the first 5 seconds of him doing his routine, I thought, no, he's not first or second. And so for me, the battle came down to Mike Somerfeld against Ramon Dino. And so following the first round of comparisons with the three, they then announce, Mike, the badass, you get into the middle. You didn't like that?
No, I didn't like that.
And so Mepstagram is thinking her favorite is Ramon Dino, and they put Mike, the badass, in the center. And so Mike, he's standing, he's clapping. Yes, I'm in the middle, because that is what you want. If you're put in the middle, most likely you're going to win. And so I was thinking, I know for certain that they're going to do 3 rounds of posing here. There's 3 guys left, so I knew. And so as soon as they did that, I thought, Ramon Dino may in fact have it. Personally, for me, as a judge, as a person who follows the sport, as someone who wants to see the best of the sport of bodybuilding, I think that Ramon Dino should win. I think that Ramon has a more classic-looking physique. If it was bodybuilding, if they were both competing in men's heavyweight bodybuilding, super heavyweight, pro, open class, whatever, I think Mike Badass is going to win. Mike has more muscle than Ramon per square inch, and so his muscles look better. When you compare the two of them, Mike, especially in his back, it's ridiculous. It's like he's a mini Derek Lunsford. His back is so superior. It isn't close. Mike's back is by far the best. However, Mike's hamstrings, they're not as pretty or as aesthetic as Ramon Dino. Do you remember looking at their hamstrings? Is that a thing for girls, or you just look at their tan?
I don't really remember looking at his hamstrings that much, although he was...
Just his glutes.
Yeah, well, you should...
Do girls like strided glutes? Is it a turn on when they... and it's like the shreds, or is it too much? It's like
no,
it's not even a thing.
It's a bit much. It's a bit much. I truly actually don't. I look more at the upper body and the legs from the front.
Okay.
More.
So if you were a judge, you would judge front quads.
The sweep.
The sweep.
I like the
sweep.
shape. I like to see the shape.
Yep. Who had better quads, Mike from the front, Mike or Ramon? Without considering the face, because you're judging the face too much.
Honestly, I think the answer is Mike.
Yeah, see, and so you have to get out your subjective, because although you're not supposed to judge the face, it's hard not to. And so when I looked at Mike Somerfeld's hamstrings, they're a little off. I liked Ramon Dino's hamstrings more. I like Mike's quads more. I like Mike's back more, but I like Ramon Dino's overall structure a little bit more. The smallest of his waist is just a little bit more aesthetic. Like, a lot of people think that judges go by pose for pose. Well, there's 5 poses. How many poses did they win? It's not even done like that. It's not done like that. It's done with who overall is better. You could perhaps win 4 out of 5 poses and still lose because one pose was so far off. For example, if you had a horrendous back double bicep, everything else you won, but your back double bicep, you did it all wrong. You're posing like this. You could actually lose the show even though you won 4 out of 5 poses. And so when you look at the conditioning, I mean, I feel like they were very closely conditioned. I feel like Ramon Dino has a better shape. I feel he looks more classic. But Mike the Badass has more muscle. And so Mike wins on bodybuilding and Ramon Dino wins on shape. Conditioning, very close depending on what you're looking for and so on. And remember, Mike had to make 204 pounds because he lost an inch in height from his last competition. Now, imagine if Mike were 3 millimeters shorter. He would have to lose an additional, I think, 7 pounds. And so how high you are is so relevant to the sport, which is why I think they should be going by every half of an inch or every quarter of an inch, because every quarter inch matters. If you're 5'9" or 5'8.1", you have to weigh the same thing on stage. I don't think that's fair, and I think the IPV has to make some changes. Notice how many people said Mike is not 5'9". And so with 6 days notice, they said everyone is getting heighted in again because a lot of people were taking advantage of perhaps their hairstyles and so on, and they want to make things fair. But you need to give athletes enough time to perhaps do their stretching and so on to make sure that their bodies are the height they need to be. But they got to make more increments. It really should be every half of an inch or preferably every quarter inch or half centimeter or whatever. And so IFBB, consider adding in every half of an inch just to please make it fair. It would be so much better for the competitors. Some guys who are 0.1 of an inch under or 0.1 of an inch over, it makes such a difference. And so please consider this. For the sport itself, for the sport of classic physique, who is replacing CBUM? Who makes a better representation of the sport? What direction should the sport be headed to? Ramon Dino is loved by millions. Do you think he has the most fans? He has the most followers, 5 million?
Yeah, he has and just being from Brazil in general, their fans are crazy. So.
And even when I watched, and
the crowd too, was like.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, explain the crowd there.
Yeah, they were cheering for Ramon like a lot more there.
Way more cheers for Ramon. And I polled my audience, and I believe about 70% had Ramon winning over Mike. It was a very large margin. And so most people want Ramon to win. And since it's classic and not bodybuilding, can't we give what the fans want? Can't we give the spectators, the people who follow the sport, a division where the best athlete wins in terms of what people like? It doesn't have to be just bodybuilding. I'm not talking about liking as in their personality, if they're nicer, or necessarily if they're just a better person. I'm talking about what physique is better. I don't think you need to be a judge to decide that. Like, you aren't a judge.
No.
You could just look and say, I just like that one more.
Yeah.
It just breaks me up a little bit more.
It just represents classic better. It's like a poster child of what we want it to be kind of thing.
Yeah. And so for me, if Ramon wins, people are going to be more happy with classic. There are going to be more people wanting to go into classic. And people are going to say, oh, it's not just about the most muscle, purely muscle. That's bodybuilding. That's open bodybuilding. That's 212 and so on. Classic physique is for the aesthetics, for something else, a different category. And it would make so many more athletes as well as spectators that much more appreciative of the fact that classic physique should be differentiated from bodybuilding. In the same way that wellness should be different from bikini, or that figure should be different from wellness, and all the difference should be different. And so why not make Ramon Dino the champion? This is what the audience wants. This is what the fans want. Is there not anything subconsciously making them say, you know what? This guy tried to be the champion for multiple years against CBUM. He was close, but not quite there. And what a remarkable story it would be for him to win. And so I'm calling it here. There's going to be an upset, and that is Ramon Dino is going to win the Mr. Olympia. Now, if he doesn't win and Mike wins, it's so close that I could see this happening, but that is also going to be an upset because at this point, if Mike wins, it's going to be an upset because most people want Ramon Dino to win. And so regardless of who wins, Ramon Dino, Mike Somerfeld, there is an upset in the making. You think?
Yeah.
I feel like it is.
Yes.
And so we ran into Mike the badass outside the show right after the competition. He was carving up on his rice cakes, trying to come in fuller, more massive, very polite, pleasant, shaking my girlfriend's hand, shaking my hand. Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Seems very excited. He seems very excited, however, not as confident as he once was. I think heading into the competition, he felt it was his show to lose, but following the prejudging, he knows that it closed. He knows that he doesn't have it in the bag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it.
What else do you want?
And so, guys, Mike, Ramon Dino.
You have a few hours.
You have a few hours left. It isn't too late. If you're not already on Turk Platinum, what are you waiting for? The dryness, the hardness, the increased ability to recover and train. Guys, Will Tennyson enjoyed this product. I enjoyed this product. People are buying this in spades. They keep rebuying it. It's the best natural supplement in the world. Without question, it's better than creatine. And so there's still time left. And for all of you out there who aren't competitors, of course you want to use this code Greg, 15% off. Click the link in the description. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you liked it. And remember, the live stream is different than being there live and in person. The fibers twitching and so on, but I was there live, and I'm telling you, it's so close that either person could win, depending on what they're going for, depending on who bricked you up the most. Anything can happen. Don't forget to buy the Kaiko bars, the Seiko bars, code CICO. You get it for 50% off. We also have GO2 Max. We got all kinds of supplements in the cookbook and all this stuff. And so code Greg, 15% off. Algor-X for blood work and for enclomiphene, Cialis, and all kinds of stuff. And so if you're interested in Cialis, Sildenafil, or perhaps you need to lose some weight, you got your Ozempic, your Tirzepatides, Telmisartan for other various needs. And so you're interested in getting prescription supplements cheaper than last time, click the link in the description, code Greg, 10% off. And until next time, I am out.